Hello everyone and welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jukka Haho. I will be your host today and I'm working as a product manager in Vertex Systems, and another host today is Heikki. Heikki, would you like to present yourself?
Hello, this is Heikki, and I'm like a project manager here at the Vertex Systems.
Thank you, Heikki, and let's go. And our agenda today is here. We will show our IFC new features. There will be the video first, and then we have a couple of short live demos, and there's after that is time for the questions and answers. You can write your questions to question box during the presentation, and then we will answer for those questions during the question and answer section. And just a practical note before we begin: this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be available on YouTube after the webinar. So let's go, and now we will have presentation about those new features. This is the video which will be shown for you, and if you have some sound problems during the video, just try to check your Windows settings and change the output device.
In this video, we are going to take a look at our improvements we have made to our IFC system in BD version 32. If you are a customer with IFC integration, we now have this new IFC tab in the top navigation ribbon. We've done this to collate all our IFC options in one easy to access place. From here, you have a whole host of IFC options. You can import models. If you have sync integration and IFC, you can import from here. You can validate your IFCs, export them. Our latest IFC BCF function is available here. New for version 32 is the ability to add IFC property sets to buildings or sites. We also have our conversion tool for Vertex parts from IFC here. And then at the end, some admin user-based IFC tools for IFC property sets, conversions, exports, and entity types. When you are exporting IFCs, there are groupings of windows, doors, etc. But if you would like to disable specific objects from the exportation, you can now do so easily. Simply select the object you would like, right-click, go to the IFC section, and select the Disable Export option. With that selected, your chosen object or objects will not be included in your IFC export. You also now have the option to now mark parts that are disabled from IFC exports so that you can find them easily. In the part marking tool, there is now a new option to mark parts disabled in IFC export. You can also find here the option to choose your highlight color to. With these options selected, you can now control your IFC export in greater detail. Let's take a look at batch exporting all panels to individual IFC files. We have had requests for the ability to export separate panels when you have large buildings or structures. Of course, you can do it by selecting the panel, hide others, and choosing to export only visible, but now it's possible to batch export these. You can find this function within structural drawings within the panel drawings section shown here. Here we have our DWG status section where you can check if your panel drawing is okay or if it is out of date and requires updating. From here you can select as required, say for example these first floor wall panels, and we can select the OK ones, ignoring out of date ones, and then right click and choose export as separate IFC files. Clicking that brings up our export IFC model property window where you can amend settings as required if you need, and then export to complete exporting each panel as individual IFC files. Vertex does this quickly, and once complete you can find your files quickly as well via the document browser under the exported IFC files section shown here. Next, let's take a look at our new support for creating IFC files with Publisher. Publisher is available to those who have Sync or have purchased the Publisher option, and it's available via the File menu, Export and Publisher as shown. Creating IFC files with Publisher is based on your IFC rules set within BD. These are available to the admin user via the IFC tab. Within here, we have some basic default rules available straight away, but you can also customize and have custom rule sets like we have here for our demo. Let's take a look at things from the Publisher side. Within here, we can publish IFC sets, which we can name at the top. We can also add new files here within the File section, and then to the right, we can amend further properties. For example, if we have sync integration active, we can set discipline options, for example, to structure or architectural, and we can set document subtype to view. Template code shown here is the key property within this section, and it pertains to your IFC export rule sets that we spoke about earlier. If you double click here, you can amend to your desired IFC property rule sets as required and as shown. You have your base default rules available here, or you can use your custom export settings specific for your needs and requirements. We double click to select the option we want, hit the save button, and then select publish to then create our IFC files. BD creates these quickly, and as per before, you can then view these within the document browser under the exported IFC files section. Next, let's take a look at our new IFC properties. Now in the new version of Vertex BD, within the IFC tab, you can find the IFC property sets. We have now added all object types to the basic libraries here, and you can customize these as needed. Simply select your required and copy them to a new library, and then amend them as needed from there. This makes it much easier for you to customize as required for your builds, as all your property sets are available to you easily, located in one place, and easy to amend. Let's take a look at our conversion tool changes in version 32. We have now a new conversion tool which converts IFC objects to Vertex objects. Within our new IFC tab, we have the option for this located here. First, let's talk a little about the conversion rules. In the IFC tab, as an admin user, you can access the IFC conversion section. Within here, you have some default conversion rules, such as IFC object to Vertex object conversion, but also can create custom conversion rule sets here too. Let's take a look at this conversion rule we have set up. Here on the left side, we have the selection rules. In the middle, we have the IFC objects which meet the criteria of our selection rules chosen. And on the right hand side, we have conversion options to specify which objects will be converted to Vertex objects from our libraries. Let's take a look at an example of this in action. Here, we have an example project loaded in. When we run our create vertex part from IFC objects, we have a dialog window open. Within here, we can see our conversion rules. Items highlighted in blue are customized IFC conversion rules. The one highlighted green is custom for this specific building, and the ones which have no highlight are default conversion rules. So from here, we can select and run the rules that we require for our example build. We can select all or none, or we can manually select specific rules via the checkbox. We will manually select a few options for our conversion and then select OK to run the conversion. BD converts our IFC objects to Vertex objects quickly, and we can then move on to further amending our project as required, say with panelizing and whatever else we may require. We have added entity type support for IFCs in version 32. Let's take a look as to how you can set it to model objects. First, select the model and right-click and visit the IFC section. Within here, select the IFC entity types option. Within the dialog window that is displayed, you can select the IFC version, the IFC entity, and the predefined type with the option to select user-defined and add a description to. If you have your own components in a macro library, for example, you can add your IFC entity types directly to the library from here as shown. Once complete, when selecting your components from your library and use them in your model, you will get IFC entities according to what you have set to in your library. You can also do building-based IFC entities for your objects if needed. All users can undertake building-based library changes in version 32. So for example, we can amend this building, copy it to a new library to customize, and after that, as per before, the IFC entity can be amended and edited here. Lastly, when you are undertaking IFC export, there is also the option for IFC entity and type mapping available here. You can set it as required here via the drop-down and choose from your default and customized rules here. Just below that, there is the option for object-specific type override for when you want to override library type mappings. Check out these IFC updates and more in version 32 of BD coming soon.
Okay, and now it's time for live demos. We would like to show a couple of things again to make clear how they work, and right now change to Heikki to presenter.
Okay. Let me show my screen. There was on that video all those functionalities what we have now in our new IFC tab, but let's look a couple of important ones more closely. I do import. Accidentally, I have the same model like that was in that video, but nothing major special in an import. But let's now have a look about these conversion rules more closely. Of course, you can check now what kind of wall this is, and you can figure out what kind of structure this might need, or this needs actually. So for example, brick facade and air gap and insulation and concrete blocks, and inside is stud layer and plasterboard kind of structure. So I have already created in my wall library same kind of wall. For example, so I can easily match. Then of course this is quite small building, but if it's very large, huge building, then the conversion rules gives advantage that you don't have to manually change all the walls or one by one or things like that. Okay, I have made the same kind of wall to a library. Then let's have a look about the IFC conversions. Here we have our standard rules, which are converting objects to vertex objects. Of course, the walls come, I think they come as like a sketch walls or something, because it doesn't create exactly same kind of wall from fly. But here I have created, for example, that exterior wall, a rule for that. Let's have a look. And here we have a selection box, that how we are selecting the wall. If I take that off, then you can see that it matches all walls in that project. But now I know that one, that exterior wall, maybe easiest one is to copy and paste here, so it will match only those walls. Of course, you can use here either select from model and use exactly that as a reference. But let's see, does it have more info? No, that is also correct one. Or other information, these can be used. Okay, or you can remove that rule, but still you have the same walls be selected. Then select wall, to which wall it's going to be matched. So select wall, and you go again to the library, wall library selection, and I select that one. So now those walls are converted to these walls, and save this rule. And I have done same for the interior walls and partition walls also. Then I have copied one of our default ones just to show that what is the content. So looks like that it's matching pretty much all the walls. All external walls are converted. Doesn't show here, but it should be like a sketch wall, I think. Okay, so let's see how this works then. Convert vertex parts from IFC objects. And I have selected that exterior walls, that interior walls, partition walls. I don't want to use that default one. If I want to have doors and windows, I use those, works pretty well. And let's do also default slab. And let's say okay. And now it converts those objects to vertex objects. And as you can see, now the structure is quite nicely exactly the same as it was on that IFC model. Okay, so of course it's quite simple in this so small project, but if you have a huge project, then this might be quite laborsome by doing one by one but with that conversion tool, you can do it quickly. Of course, it needs some pre-work to make it work nicely. Then about those IFC entities, that is some new stuff. I have saved to my custom library one toilet seat. And let's place it to somewhere there. And like in the previous video, I have already put to this toilet seat IFC entity type. And IFC format, it's sanitary terminal and it's water closet seat, or can be defined whatever. So these are written to the IFC file. And if we look from the library interface, this is in my custom libraries, toilet furniture, and this toilet seat is here, and I have given an entity type here. If you are looking what object should have what entity type, I have used AI to search those, but be careful, it might invent that kind of IFC entities that actually do not exist. So little careful there when you are selecting or finding to your objects what IFC entities might have. For example, I think toilet seat is quite simple, but some of the objects are quite hard to find or define what kind of IFC entity type they do have. Okay, there was in that video also when you are exporting and was it here? Yes. Here are the library rules that you can set up based on the, for example, or Vertex object type default rules. That, for example, brick goes as a, let's say, for example, alarm, or whatever you define. It's an alarm bell, all our bricks. And create those kind of rules to a library. So when you have these rules and you are doing IFC export, you can select those rules, default rules from here. So now, I didn't say, but the brick would go like an alarm bell, but could go. But this, when this is checked, it overrides per macro those rules. If I have some toilet seats going to some other entity type, this, what this macro has, will override those rules. Okay, so that about IFC import and export. Then a new feature is IFC validation, or we call it validator tool. And you can select an IFC file, any, for example, where you can find it, browse it, and read the file. And now it does a validation. Takes a little while because it's a quite big house. It checks the file and it found one error. An open folder where this is, there is a validation log. Let me open it here. And it says that on a row, that one, there is a mistake. And if you open that IFC file and find that row Actually, should put their equal like that. Now it finds. So this is causing error. But if you want to go deeper and actually define which object is causing this, you need to know a little bit about this structure, and I don't go through that. Maybe in future we have actually a functionality that it actually shows out, for example, in the model, what object is causing a validation error, but not currently. It only tells the line in the IFC file itself. Was there something else? Property sets were quite standard. Conversions we did go through. Conversion rules. Exports, you can create settings for exports, and entity types, you can create new rules, library rules for entities. And I think, was there something else, Jukka? Or was this pretty much the main points on the IFC?
That's more or less that what it is. And for example, there is, as we saw in there's shown in the video that the IFC files are also in document browser. And there are some functions also for the exported IFC files when you have done those. For example, this validation check can be done for exported IFC file.
Yeah, so it comes now to the document browser when you are exporting, and you can also do the validation from here.
Export again or delete it. So there's functions for them also. But okay, thank you, Heikki. I think that's all we like to
show today.
Present today, and we will have a few questions. Just a moment, I switch the screen, and it's time for the questions and answers. There's one question: that is it possible to modify the material code when exporting the IFC? For example, using the one material code for each vertex and a different material code for IFC export. I think that IFC export is writing the data which exists, or then you can make such kind of property set field that you fill that data manually. Am I right, Heikki?
I think so. Maybe, for example, quite many objects have, I don't know if all objects have like an item code, which is basically what we call a ERP code.
Yeah.
So that maybe could be written also to the IFC, that item underscore code. So that could be used possibly. I have never not tried, but I could try to use it.
Then we import the trust drawings IFC files to our wall drawing. Can we export the trust IFC with the wall IFC so we have one IFC export? At the moment, we write only the file, the geometry what has been created by Vertex, and that would mean that there should be some kind of merge tool to do that and to write them together. That's also the question of that if somebody is using that trust part, it must be the original but not modified one. But we are investigating that, and maybe in future we will have also the merge tool, but we don't know yet. But we are at the moment investigating it. Can we can we implement the merge tool to our product as well?
Yes, I was saying the same thing, that I have heard that we have been, that's under investigation, that can we implement a merge tool to our IFC functionalities, so that we can merge two IFC or multiple IFC files together.
Then there's the question that is the IFC separate option in Vertex BD? Yes, actually it is, depending on which product you buy. If you buy subscription from our Vertex store, I think it's always included. And for the new licenses, I think you will have it. Just if you buy the perpetual license, you can discuss about that topic with the sales guys. Then there's the function. Can we see an imported IFC in a section cut or elevation in Vertex? I think those are not included to elevation. Am I right, Heikki?
I have not tried, but I have tried that, for example, in panel drawings, you can have an IFC as a reference if you want to show, like a IFC steel structure in your panel drawings. You could actually reference those 3D IFC structures also in the panel drawings. That I know.
Yeah, basically, normally when you like to use somehow the IFC files, for example, utilize walls for panelizing and so on, you need to convert them to native Vertex objects. But as Heikki told, in panel drawings, you can show them.
Yes.
And also when you need to, for example, show the some parts in material reports, they need to be the Vertex parts.
Yes.
So then there was the one related to conversion that double check that is it possible to use name, that it is possible to use the name, material and properties as a filtering criteria there when you are filtering the objects to be converted. Yes, it is those three different things. It's like name, material and properties.
Yes.
Can we see the imported IFC in more than one model pair? So maybe the question of that, can I see this IFC objects in multiple drawing model pairs?
Of course, the 2D, goes, height-wise. If you want to have, 2D presentation, they go to the different drawing model pairs. But about the 3D, I'm not 100% sure.
Sorry, what's that?
Actually, you can set it, the IFC object visibility also same way like you can do any other Vertex object. So let me try quickly. Yes, you can say the visibility of the IFC object, so you can show it either in a framing model or architectural model.
Yeah, that was also what I was trying to test at the same time, but to find out because I thought that it's possible. It's not a new feature. It has been there some time more.
Yeah.
But okay. There's some more questions. That it's Vertex, it's possible to select the colors of the loose parts, but these colors are not upper when exporting to IFC. it would be extremely helpful for visual checks in IFC. Okay, that's something we can listen that at the moment this loose part color is just a marking in our model. It's not really it's not physically saved to that object, and that's why it cannot be, for example, shown in the exported IFC file. But good comment. Okay, and then do we have more questions about these entities? So there's a question: does it mean that I can control now the IFC entities and predefine type for any object, or is there some objects which are done by hard coded? Which are hard coded? I think walls and floors, those slabs are, and roofs, are they hard coded?
Seem to be so.
Yeah, and all the rest you can control now, and that is very good. You can very precisely control them, and in the library you can even the object by object say that okay, that's the type, and that's the predefined type, that's the entity, and that's the predefined type. So if you need to then somehow control very precisely those entities, it's now possible.
Yes.
And those rule mapping you can use. I guess there's also some question about the rule mapping, that it's useful then when you need to entity level to control those types. You can then map the vertex type and IFC type together. But then if there's quite similar object and you like to control also that predefined type more precisely, then this library approach is better. Okay.
Yes, and hopefully in our next service pack, most of our macros already have those correct entity types.
Yeah, that's we are also doing some work those service packs, mainly the version upgrades, but sometime for the service packs, and there's going to have some improvements related to those entities and predefined types in next service. Okay. Thank you about your questions and your activity there. You can find our latest information about the webinars, and also there's the playlist for the version 2026 new features in our YouTube channel. So subscribe it, and you will find the useful information there. Also, this webinars will be there. And we will have these webinars regular basis, so just follow our post updates and registration details, and there will be almost every month new webinar. Okay, and then if you are interested in to know a bit more about our Vertex software, you can find the contact information from our webpage. So and the local offices there, and their contacts over there. So don't hesitate to reach out to our sales teams worldwide. Thank you for joining with us today, and have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye.